It's always quite nice looking back at your old work and seeing what you would do differently if you were to shoot it today. So this short film was shot in 2013. I think I was 18 or 19 at the time. Shot on the Canon 5D Mark III with 50mm lens and the Canon 16 to 35 2.8. So if you just jump straight into it, so straight off the bat, not too happy with the framing of this. The client actually, well, the director wanted a nice saturated image, so I just boosted up the saturation, which is why it's looking like this. I would have literally just had someone hold over a diffuser over them there, and I would have framed it in another way, so then you've got a nice background somewhere, ideally with some contrast in the trees. So like if there's a patch of light in one bit and then another bit's a bit dark, that would have been quite nice to have. Even to have someone with a bounce board literally just there right in front of them would look quite nice as well, just to fill it in. It's looking a bit orange as well. I'd bring that down in the grey just a little bit. That's quite nice. I think she's just finding out her dad's just passed away, which is quite nice with the lens flares. So this one, I really don't like the lighting of this because that's all natural light over there, and then we've got a 800 watt redhead light down here, shooting that way, which is why you can see this patch of light over here, and you can see it over there, so it doesn't look natural at all. The windows are all blown out over there. So what I would do, ideally, I would see if I could shoot in the opposite direction so we don't get the blown out window. And then I would also see if I can put a little wall spreader up here, like my Manfrotto Autopole or Coupole, which is basically just something that extends from one side to the other, and then you go there, and then clamp a Kino Flow 4x4 bank there to light them all up like that. And that would have done the job quite nicely. Another thing I could do is, if I were to shoot the opposite direction, then I would have shot my Aperture 600D through the window with a bit of diffusion outside, like a scrim or something like that, and that would look quite nice as well. So this scene, I remember we had some problems with audio in terms of the birds making noises, and also we had a lot of cloud coverage. So obviously in England, it's the clouds are all over the place, usually grey skies and stuff. So what we had here, what I would have done, I would have just had someone hold a diffuser up there, and then if I needed to, just have someone hold a diffuser this way, and then just obviously the reflector would have just made that a little bit softer. And then obviously you can see it's a bit darker, so there's some, we had two options here. You can either wait for the sun to come back out to keep it all natural, which is quite hard to do on the day if you don't have someone sort of like looking out for that as well. But again, it goes overexposed over here, so it depends how much time you're willing to wait for those shots. And if you can look back at your old shots and remember what they look like, then it's really beneficial, because these are the sort of things you don't really notice on the day. I think we did notice it on the day, but usually it's quite tricky. You can't really see her too well, so I would have probably just put a little LED tube here, just to give a bit more light like that, and just to sort of show off a little bit. And that way we can bring down this wall, and we can bring down this a little bit, so then the exposure is a little bit more normal. So at the moment this is too bright. This is the subject, and this isn't the subject at the moment, because it's the exposure shows differently. Over here you can see her face is a little bit too magenta, so I'll probably just bring a little bit more green tint into that in the edit. Ideally I wouldn't shoot against the windows if I can help it. I'm not really a fan of shooting against the windows if I don't have strong enough lights and stuff. So what I would have done is I would have actually potentially asked the director in advance, on the location recce, can we have the camera over here? That way we don't see that overexposed and we don't see that overexposed, and it's a little bit easier. And then to combat the white wall, because there's a white wall over this side, I would just had someone put posters up and stuff like that. I think we did actually do that, just have someone put posters up to make it a little bit easier, to make it a little bit more of a rich frame in the background. So if I were to light this, probably what I would have done is probably just put my falconized light up like this, shooting this way, and then I would have potentially bounced another like a 300D Mark II just straight up into the ceiling, just to give it a bit more, because it's a bright day, so I would have probably just gave it a bit more feel, because I've been doing that lately, and it, I just put like a light on the subjects, but then it looks a bit not daylight, so it's kind of like, so I just want to fill up the room just a little bit by adding a bit more light into the room, a few more foot candles. So yeah, I would have shot like this. Notice I've broken the 180 here as well. But yeah, even having some diffusion in front of the window over there, that would have made that look a lot nicer as well. I don't like the lens choice on that as well. I think it was just so I could get them both in. That would have been on maybe about 20mm. Over here, this was a bit of a rough scene. Obviously, you can see exposure changes already due to the time of day we shot it, or something like that. Not too sure why the exposure is different here. Obviously, also lens whacking there. So outdoor shots, if I can, usually I just get a reflector, have someone hold it up here to fill in there. But because this is a rough scene, that this guy is having fun, that the other guy is that he's having a hard time, and he's resorted to alcohol. So that's yeah, I think it's quite nice and contrasty, which is quite cool. So if I just go forward here, so again, probably wouldn't shoot against the windows if I could help it. Probably shut those, actually I wouldn't have shut those blinds, because if I shut those blinds, I'm assuming that they would bounce the light and make red on her face there. So that's probably not the best idea to do. So I'd probably just put up a 300D, or better yet a 600D outside the window with a Fresnel on it, just shining through the window and giving her that look. And if I needed to, just put a diffuser in front of it just to soften up, and that would look nice and natural. And then moving on over here, this is quite a nice scene. So to be honest, I'm actually fairly happy with this. I mean, with this, I would probably just have someone holding a diffuser up here to soften up that light again. But a small crew as well. Looking back, like the framing as well, I'm not too happy with like that car over there, but it's fine. The lens flare is quite cool, because they're going off into like a better world and stuff, but it depends if you like lens flares or not. So again, the backgrounds aren't so great, so I don't quite like the overexposed sky over there, and I don't like the overexposure here, don't like the overexposed here, because it just screams amateur. So ideally what I would have done is I would have shot in some kind of C-Log or something at the time, because it was the Canon 5D Mark III. I would have tried to find a place other than this street, really, because potentially you're getting green reflection off the leaves and the grass going into her face. So better yet, probably just shoot this way, going up that way, and then have her walk through these little patches of light here, because then she would have been like coming in and out of like little patches of light, which would have been quite cool. But I don't know, that might have been over stylized. It depends what it looks like on the day, I think. Again, over here, I would have had one of the actors just more backlit by the sun, and then filling in with the reflector, because this guy here is currently the good guy, and so we want him to look nice and good. So the way we do that is that we can have him backlit, so then you have all of this hair lit and stuff, and then you just have a reflector down here, just putting in the light back into his face. Over here, probably have a bit more wrap, so just because it's a tight corridor, probably just have an LED tube here, just shining light onto her, so then that's going to give you a tiny bit more wrap. Or if I wanted to, I could just have a reflector on this side, just filling in that side just a little bit. It would be nice to have a little eye light in her eye as well, just to sort of like make it a little bit more human, because I think she's the good guy here. Again, this was a bit of a tricky scene. because I'm shooting all directions, and you can see the light over here as well. So this is where blocking comes in handy as well. So I think maybe I should have blocked it more, and try to stay on the 180-degree line. So if I was to do this again, probably not shoot against the window, have the 600 aperture 600D light out here, diffusion there, shoot camera over here outside the window or just in front of her, moved the actress further back to about here so I can have the camera here, and then shot over her so then you can see him in the background with her as a close-up. And I think that would have looked a lot nicer than this shot. And that way we can constantly be shooting this way as well. So over here, probably just have I would have literally just put my Aputure B7C bulb here. Because it's 7 watt, you can dim it, you can make it brighter, you can change the color temperature of it and a few other things. And that way we can just have that like that. And I would have probably tried to shoot in another direction if possible, because I always like the lighting to come from this side, with it rolling off into darkness on this side if I can help it. It's a bit tricky in these small rooms, I think, but I would have probably had him lay on the other side of the bed maybe, and then that would have got around some things and just rearranged the room just a little bit. So we can see it's daytime out here. Potentially we could have shut the door somehow, so had her coming in from this door instead, and then that way we don't see it's daytime, because upstairs, you know, the shot that this is just following on from, where he's in his room here, this looks like nighttime because he's got like the house lights on. So depending on what time of day we want to do this on, I think this would have looked better in the evening. So I would have literally just had a little lamp down here, a little lamp down here. If I wanted to, I could just put a little gobo on up like that to have some leaves coming from outside and made it a little bit warm. So it looks like it's sort of like coming from a street light, just to mix it up. This shot is really, really bland because you just got 2 actors in front of a white wall over here on a sort of a peachy couch. It doesn't look so good. So if I could have helped that, I would have moved the couch around a little bit, so then you've got more depth in the background, because at the moment there's no depth here at all. So this is a cool shot already. So what I would have done here, I quite like this line up here, which gave me a cool idea just now, to potentially just have a dado light over here shining this way, and then just having a little barn door with a little bit of it closed off. So then the light is just coming from here, cutting across his face. So then all of this bit is lit up, but then all of this bit is dark. And that would look quite contrasty and stuff, because he's in a bit of a predicament and he's a bit sort of it's quite nice to have some of them in shadow when they're sort of going through a lot of contrasty thoughts and stuff. And definitely obviously turn the house light off up there as well. And yeah, I would have just kept this similar to the way. So now I can see that all these posters and stuff are here. Going back to what I was saying about the gentleman in the room, I would have had the bulb. I would have had the bulb down here, and then I would have had the gentleman, the actor, over here, and then the bulb over here, and then I would have had the camera over here shooting that way over him, so then you've got the lighting on that side, and I think that would have been a nicer look. And I quite like this one because you've got 3 colours here. You've got green, you've got orange, and you've got blue. So I was really happy with this, and I think I've shown everyone. It's like, this looks really cool. But yeah, I think this was one of my first proper films with like a bit of a small crew and stuff. I think I might have been doing audio as well. I might have been on camera audio. I can't quite remember. But yeah, first film, I learned a lot from it. I mean, it doesn't look very good at all. I don't think any of the actors were happy with it, but that's what happens when you sort of start out. You're just learning from your mistakes and stuff, really. But yeah, I learned a lot from it, and yeah, I won't say it came out nice, but yeah, it is what it is.